All right, welcome back, and thank you for joining me. And now we're going to use Luminar 4 to enhance our fall foliage picture. And this is our fall foliage picture, beautiful picture, the overlook of Silverjack Reservoir. It's got some wonderful fall colors in it. Some of it we enhanced in our little video before this one. But now we want this image to pop. We want it to have depth and light and maybe even a little drama. So we want to have a real pretty fall color, Colorado fall color picture. And to do that, we're going to use Luminar 4. And I've installed it as a plugin here on Photoshop CC. So we're going to go Filter, Skylum Software, Luminar 4. Takes just a second to open up. And I'll have a swig of low-calorie beer while we wait. So here we are in Luminar 4. And one of the changes to it, now there's definitely some looks down here that you can select and go through that are pre-set up for you. I'm not a fan of nearly any of those, so I don't use them. So I'm going to shut those off, and we're just going to work right here in Luminar 4. And they've got it set up so that there's a bit of a workflow that they recommend going through. And I agree with that workflow everywhere except one place, and I'll show you where that place is. First thing is light. And we've already adjusted our white balance and tint and temperature exposure, all the highlights and shadows and all those kind of things in RAW before we got here. So it's not a good idea to double process like that. It can make an image look over-processed. But it does have one feature that we didn't have before, which is called Smart Contrast. And let's watch what happens when we do that slider. And it's a better contrast than we have in I think in Camera Raw, and you can just see it, just the way it handles contrast just is a lot more natural looking, but still gives you pop. And we don't want to take that too much because we're going to use our AI enhancements next. And what we've got is we've got what's called AI for artificial intelligence accent. And we're going to move that slider and watch what happens. It really brings the picture alive, but in a really natural way. I mean, you could really crank it, which is kind of gorgeous, maybe just a little overdone. Let's bring her down a little bit. But man, does that enhance a fall picture or what? Look at that. That's gorgeous. Now let's try the sky enhancer. Now the sky enhancer is going to add blue, just the way it works. So I don't like to use too much. It doesn't look natural. But a little bit, we've already kind of worked with our sky. I don't think I'm going to add any sky enhancer to this one. I like the way it is. Just kind of turn this off and on to see the punch that just that one accent enhance added. Now we're going to go to structure. And structure is going to be something we probably want when it comes to fall color, because look at just the way everything can blend together here. And it'd just be nice to add, in here it's got, take the boost to there. There we go. Took a second to process. And it just added depth. Look right here where we start looking into the trees, and turn it on, and we can just go a little deeper into our photograph. Maybe we don't want quite that much. That's pretty good. Maybe a little less. And that's pretty right there. That is pretty. Color's great, but we're good with our color. If you have a photograph with a certain color cast, this can happen with snow and different things where the whole picture has taken on a certain hue. This remove color cast can do a real good job with it. And here you see it really just kind of took out some of the colors of our picture. And really, we don't have to worry about that with this picture. So we can turn that down. Black and white conversion, we're not going to worry about. Details enhancer. It's another thing with fall colors that can make a big difference. Maybe make your leaves pop just a little bit more. Maybe that's too much there. I don't like that. That makes our aspen trunks look pretty unnatural. So I'm going to turn that down. And turn that all the way down. So I want those to look natural. Maybe the large, a little bit. But it definitely helps with the leaves, but you got to watch what it does with everything else. Denoise, now denoise is something I would like to use separately in a whole separate adjustment, and this isn't the place where I'd like it. So I'm not going to use that there. Landscape Enhancer is kind of another very cool feature they have here, and also really good for fall color pictures. Watch what Golden Hour does. It adds this, you know, kind of touch to the light that makes it look like it was shot more during the golden hour. Turn it on and off to show you. It's subtle, but it's there. Just nice. Foliage enhancer. I do not like the foliage enhancer, mostly for what it does to green. Look what it did to the green up here. This looks totally unnatural. You know, everything else it helps with, but the green, it just looks ridiculous. So I do not like the foliage enhancer. One of the few things about Luminar I haven't been too much of a fan of. You can take this golden hour way up, and that doesn't look natural at all. So we'll take that way back down there. But boy, it does enhance your fall color photograph. And now vignettes, another one that's just out of place for me. This is not where I would want to put vignette. So I'm not going to. Vignette would be something I'd add to the last part of the picture. Then once we're done with essentials, we can get over into creative. Now, sky replacement is something where, you know, this sky's all right, but what if you really wanted to add some more punch to this? You could definitely do it. But before we get into any of that, well, let's actually take a look. What the heck? And they've got a whole lot of skies that are that you can select from and input. And it's nice, but you know, if you have your own skies from your own pictures or whatever, then that gives it more of a personal touch. But one thing, if you do select a sky, try and select a sky that is close in color and time of day and that type of thing, something that's going to look right in your picture. Like right here, you're not going to want to select a sky that's, you know, some dramatic, you know, sunset sky. It's not going to look right with the color of this, of the water right here and this type of stuff. But the color of the water, I'm thinking a bright blue sky is the way to go. And here's a, you know, here's a bright blue sky. And watch just how amazing this is. I didn't have to select anything. I didn't have to do anything. It just plugged in a bright blue sky. And now I can choose, you know, the horizontal position of the sky, which kind of moves, you're scrolling through available clouds here. And that's a nice little scene right there with little fluffy clouds floating there, and it looks kind of blends with what you have right here. And if you see, I mean, look at what a great job it does, even with the these branches up here and right at the edge. I just don't see, with just one click, it created this. So horizontal blending seems to be working just fine. I like this relight scene. It's kind of moved through, and it gives you some different light choices. And again, it's subtle for your scene. And fortunately, we had really great light when we were there, so there's not a whole lot of relighting we'd want to do. That actually looks really good. Sky Global just gives kind of, it adjusts the whole picture with kind of using the sky as a reference. And it works really good when you're trying to plug in some sky that just, you know, doesn't fit with your picture. So there's that. Then close gaps. I don't see any gaps to work with. In here, this is nice. So now you can work on just your sky temperature. And again, since we want to be here, we might want to bring that temperature down a little bit so it matches. And look at how well we're matching the lake. That looks really good. And you can bring the exposure down, sky exposure down, so that everything pops just a little bit more. Look at that. That's amazing. It's just gorgeous. Then sun rays, if there was, you could add sun rays. You can look at that and play with that yourself. Dramatic isn't something I want to use here, but I'll show you what it looks like. It adds drama to the picture. Not for me for this type of picture, but definitely you could see how it'd work with other things. Matte look, again, kind of desaturates a little bit, which is not, not a bad look, but not what I'm looking for here. Let me take that away. Mystical is kind of cool. Mystical is kind of their version of the Orton effect for landscape, and they've done a good job with this. So you can add this kind of natural softness to the image that adds this color depth and softness. It works nice, and it doesn't over brighten or overshadow the image. And if it does, it gives you this adjustment to work with. It's a great little thing, this Mystic slider. It's trying to show you the off and on here of what it did. It's just adding depth and softening just a little bit. But let's say that's not enough and you want to add glow. Now it's got a soft focus, and I like just this regular soft glow, which just makes your picture look a little more natural. So everything's not so hard lined. It's just like it says, a very natural, soft glow. And there's, these are for your portraits, and this is where they put their Orton effect. And then you can go into advanced areas here, and I won't get into all that. Split toning is definitely a very powerful tool, and it's a great tool to use with fall colors, but I don't think we need it in this particular picture. So now I'm just going to say apply. Takes just a second. Or in this case, maybe since I have so many things running, maybe more than a second. But definitely looks nice. It's taken a while. We did a lot of adjustments, so I can understand why it would. All right, and then watch it load. You can see our before picture right there. And there's our after. And to get an idea, oh wait, there's before, there's after, before, after. That's pretty cool. And I'll do one other thing. I'm going to flatten this. There it is. It's a nice, it's an awful nice picture, isn't it? I'm going to do one other thing that I like to do when it comes to vignette. And I'm going to go back to our Luminar for this. Filter, Skylum software, Luminar. And now I'm going to look at my vignette. And the reason why I like to use Luminar's vignette feature is because I can choose the subject of my photograph, and it then puts the vignette around that. And I think that adds quite a punch to a photo. So, could you say this tree is your subject? This, to me, right here where your eye goes, I'm going to pick this as my subject right there. And now, as you can see, as I add my vignette, it's right around where my subject is, so I can take you where my eye wants to go. And I can add inner light to that. And see how subtle it is? You hardly even know it's there. But boom, with this one little thing, I'm now taking your eye through the picture. I mean, everything was nice, but it was kind of flat. With one little vignette, boom, your eye, it's all dark right here, and your eye moves through the picture to where I want it to go. It's a cool, powerful, powerful feature. So now I just say apply. And man, this is a brilliant, beautiful fall color picture right here, isn't it? Luminar 4. And you know, sky replacement may not be the thing for you. For the most part, it's not the thing for me. But I can't argue with the results. It's awful pretty right there. And there's our, and I personally like to use Topaz Denoise 6 to denoise my images. And then if I add any sharpening, I sharpen just a little bit at the very end, and then I'm done. But this is the end of our little video. And I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it helps, and hope to see you on another American Photo Treks workshop. You guys have a really fun holiday season.